Hello and welcome to another episode of Martech Conversations between Dorai Thodla and Pravin Shekar. The last few episodes we've been discussing some theory. Dorai has shown us something, but now I'm going to put Dorai in the spot. Dorai, you all through your career you've been developing with product developments, and of course the last few years has been in micro products in Python and a whole lot of whatever we discussed, which is influencers, key opinion leaders, competitive intelligence, finding data, collating data, presenting it. So my request to you for today's episode would be if you could show us some of these tools, some that you have developed, some that you have experimented with. So what are you going to show us today, Dorai?
So you're calling the bluff, Pravin, putting me on the spot. Okay. All right. So we were playing around with a bunch of things, and actually there is a whole bunch of things. Part of it is research because we are also doing some things in machine learning and artificial intelligence, which are not sufficiently developed. Which are started with chatbots and stuff like that. But some of them were like, it's not technology that I would give it to anybody at this point in time.
Dorai, I would just sorry to interrupt, but I have a very quick question. Are chatbots a fad or are they here to stay?
They're here to stay long term. The current terms, I think they're very, very specialized function chatbots work extremely well. The generic ones are terrible. Because, I think a few days ago, there was Guy Kawasaki was doing this session on a chatbot called Kuki, Kuki, and he was answering questions. And he said that he actually mentioned a podcast that he has done that he interviewing Cookie. Okay. And then he started like revolutionary, this thing, blah, blah, and all. I go there and I go to Cookies and I like to test it out myself. And I know Guy Kawasaki is a marketing guy, and I know I wear a marketing hat, so I know how I am in that role. So I will go to Cookie and said, what is your technology stack? And it started talking about some BlueStacks, which is a platform for moving, running Android apps on Windows and all that. I said, no, what is your technology? He didn't get it. Said technology or something. Finally, after 4 iterations, it says Java and XML. I said, wow, this sounds. Then we found out they use a technology called AIML. Even though name it's very glorified artificial intelligence markup language, it's about 15 years old technology. It's a rule-based. It's got nothing to do with AI. It's a rule-based markup kind of stuff. So, but what is happening is that the old technology is a little bit more solid. The problem is it cannot take all kinds of questions out of the, it cannot like come up with reasonable guesses. We've been working with Dialogflow for about 3 years. Working in the sense that we've been experimenting with lots of different bots and stuff like that. And which is reasonable to some extent. There's one called RASA, RASA. They got huge funding. So if you look at this, a lot of these chatbot companies bought by big guys. Google bought one. Dialogflow was a company that it had some other name. It was there, API.ai or something like that. And then Wig.ai was bought by Facebook, and some other thing was bought by Uber, or there are all these purchases. That's because they see it as a long-term bet. The best bots today are customer service bots. They work reasonably well because they are fed a lot of data from the interactions that people had with customers, and they restrict themselves to customer things and customer questions, potential customer questions. And if you run like a fresh desk or some company that has like thousands or tens and hundreds of thousands of customers who ask lots of questions, and you captured all of them, you have a solid data very specific to their products. And so anything outside the chatbot can say, I'll get back to you. And these are called hybrid bots, where they can answer whatever questions they can answer. And then whatever they cannot answer, they'll get a human in the loop. And then they'll also log it so that humans can look at all the failed answers, and then they can improve. They plug in that knowledge. So we'll come back to knowledge base or knowledge graph for doing that kind of thing. And they are being driven. They're getting better all the time. But you can easily fool a chatbot. So they're not the general purpose ones, but you'll be surprised since you are in the healthcare profession, like serve their clients. The oldest, one of the oldest, most popular chatbots called Mycin, MYCEIN, which is a medical chatbot. So you may want to go and check out one.
Absolutely.
And there is one that I used to play with called Alice, ALICE. That is when I came to learn about, and it's reasonably good in terms of answering questions. And it's a simple structured language. It's an XML, special dialect of XML called AIML. And at that time, this was like 15 years ago, they called it, the ML is for markup language, not machine learning.
Right.
The AI is, of course, artificial intelligence. Anything at that time, artificial intelligence was rule-based, expert systems based. So they were not like fooling anyone, but they chose that name. And people think that AIML is like artificial intelligence, and it's not. Pandora Bots is a service that runs the AIML bots quite a bit, and we played around with them. In our first chatbots, we built one called Interview Bot for Future Focus. I mean, it's an experimental product, didn't go very far. But to ask a bunch of interview questions to the candidate. So for example, if the candidate says, I know Java. So the idea was you scan a resume, you pick the skills, and then you say, hey, what do you know about Java? How many years experience? 3 years experience. So we know exactly what questions to ask a 3-year experience guy, 3-year experience Python guy, for example. If somebody claims 10-year Python experience, then means he's bogus, because Python was not popular in India 10 years ago, for example. I mean, there were a few really small groups that were working on it. So we used to tailor that kind of thing, but it was more for the recruiters to figure out what questions to ask. So the bot was not directly interfaced to the user. The idea is that recruiters themselves know what to. Somebody says, I know Hadoop. He said, I don't know what Hadoop is. They'll go to chatbot and say, what is Hadoop? And it'll give you a definition kind of thing. So it's a control language used to work.
Good.
One more thing on chatbot before I move off.
Yes.
The ones that you use like Google Assistant, Siri and all that, they're all single turn conversation. Alexa, Echo, my Amazon Echo. They're single turn, right? You ask them, what is the temperature tomorrow? What is likely to be temperature tomorrow? The probability of something, blah, it will come back and give you an answer, right? These are like, but there is no continuity in conversations. And the biggest problem in chatbots is this, what is called the dialogue management, where you remember the context of the previous question and infer the pronouns, when you use the pronouns. So how many jobs are there for Java developers with 2 years experience in Chennai? In OMC, then it says, what is OMC? And they said, oh, it's OMR. I said, oh, it's Old Mahabalipuram Road. I said, okay, these are the companies in Old Mahabalipuram Road. Which ones are you looking at? And you may say, oh, Cognizant, or, like whatever. And then it'll say, oh, according to the job listing page, there are these 15 jobs. Here are the 5 jobs. Do you want to see all the others? And then say, yeah. And then it'll take you to the page and show it kind of thing and all that. So there are some simple function, but there it has to remember the previous question, answer to the previous question. It has maintained context, and that chatbots don't do very well. That is the problem.
Good. That was a nice segue, but bringing you back into the demos.
Sure. So let me share my screen.
Yes, please.
And I'll show you a few, because we're moving servers and all that sort of stuff, and some stuff is working, some stuff is broken. And also, I'm not going to give a complete demo of a product.
Right.
So this is, I'll start with InfoMinder because I keep talking about it. Also, I need to give respect to InfoMinder because it is the oldest of the lot. It will be 20 years in February 2022. Wow. So, and it looks like a 20-year, I mean, not a 20-year young person, 20-year piece of software, horrible user interface, very, antiquated and all that. But it serves its purpose. And essentially, let us say I use this to track various websites. And I'll show you in a minute. So if I go to InfoMinder and I go to, let's say, the homepage of InfoMinder, let's say, you have a reasonable. This is how it looked 20 years ago, and it is how it looks even now. Okay, so basically what I do is I track all these pages. Okay, one is a tech meme, another is, there's a bunch of things like Newswine and Amazon UK, dig.com technology. These are all like, so the way you track a page is you simply go to any page that you want. Let's say I want to go to, let's say this Forbes page, and we have this little InfoMinder extension that you will see somewhere here, this guy with the head. Mind this page. So I can right mouse click on it. Then I can say, hey, InfoMinder, mind selected links. That means track all the links on that page. Or I can simply go and say, I can just click on this. What it will do is it will grab the URL of the page. It will grab the title. And then say, do you want to future of growth? The top digital media, do you want to save it? And then I say, yeah, save. Okay. Now I'm tracking this page. Close it, back, and that's it. InfoMinder starts tracking. Nothing happens today. 24 hours we check that page, and if anything changes on the page, we send you notifications. We basically send you a mail like this. Okay, InfoMinder notification, 83 pages changed. Okay, and then I'll get a link to every one of the pages that are changed. It'll say some of it Bank of Baroda. I don't know how it happened there, but anyway, there is a Forbes, 23 changes in Forbes. Okay. Oh, this looks interesting. Let me just go click on this page. And what it'll do is it'll give me a Forbes page with all the changes marked.
Right.
In yellow, for example. US passes 500,000 coronavirus death, though new cases are down, that kind of stuff. And $1 trillion opportunity, how a new intern will completely reimagine your business model.
Right.
New internet, I mean, not intern. So it'll give you these kinds of things, but it also extracts it and sends it to you by email. We also extract it and send it to you through what is called an RSS feed, which means you can programmatically work with these changes, kind of thing. So, and these people use for a wide variety of reasons. The parliament librarians use it to gather information about NGOs. They track all the NGOs and then gather, and then they produce a report on the non-profit organizations. A couple of parliaments do it. I can't name them in various countries. We have users in Europe, Canada, US, of course, India, few users, Australia, government of Australia uses it. I don't know which department. Some of them are like been using it for 15 to 17 years. There's a company that builds, informed librarian. They gather titles of, the table of contents of various publications, gather them together, and then sort them and publish them in different ways, do analytics and publish them. They run a newsletter completely on top of InfoMinder. They were our first beta user, and they're still using it. And so this is InfoMinder. So I'll quickly go through these kinds of things.
Right.
We are actually making some few changes, and one of the things we are doing is we're trying to build apps on top of InfoMinder. And I'll show you a blog post if you have the time of what kind of apps can be there. So here, if you can see the right hand side, it'll say how many changes have occurred in each page that I'm tracking, and which date and time that page is changed. And once you see this page, that new will go away. That yellow ugly looking dot is basically new, a small cloud containing the letter new, and this is essentially mine. And I can go through and delete, export them, do all kinds of interesting things. Questions before I go on to the next one?
This seems straightforward. So for all those listening in, just go to app.infominder.com and go ahead and pick it up and use it. So no questions at this point, Dorai, except that in a business scenario, for example, from what we have discussed. So if I have to track my competitor, or anybody in that ecosystem, then I can just go to their website and click on the extension so that anytime there is a change on the site, I get an email. So I don't need to necessarily go keep checking it every day.
Yeah, the only difference is that it's not the site, it monitors that page. You have to go mark the pages. The reason is, originally we wanted to do site, but if you go to IBM and click, there'll be 1.5 million pages and we'll be going into. So we want to see, what are the pages that people do. Second thing is, some sites do not want all the pages to be visited by bots. So there is something called robots.txt that lists all the pages that the sites do not want others to visit. So we didn't want to take all the responsibility of, this page should be monitored or not. We're going to leave it, push it onto the user. And so it will monitor that page. But typically a good bet is you go to the home page and follow all the homepage links. For example, so let us take, give me one company, one real company that exists. I'll just show you in 1 second.
Let's take Sun Pharma or Roche, for example.
Sun PHA.
Pharma. Yeah.
Sun.
That's the one. Yes.
Okay. So when I go here, what I can do is, so it's got all these things, like every one of these is a link. So I can simply go to this InfoMinder plugin. Okay, we have one for both, and I can track that page. That is one way to do it. Another way to do it is, let's say that I can go right mouse click instead of left mouse click, and I say mine selected links, and I can actually select the links, but I'm not going to do that. So what it does is it takes the page, crawls the page, comes up with a list of links, and then it will say, okay, these are all the links that you can monitor. Then you can select which one of the links that you want to do, kind of thing. So you can track it. A couple of things that we use it for here for my clients is that colleges and companies and all that, sometimes they get hacked. So they monitor a bunch of pages to see whether content has changed, and then they get a notification. So in fact, the funniest thing is that InfoMinder site itself was hacked. And that was told to us by one of our users who was monitoring our page. And we didn't know it. We were not monitoring our own page. So what happened is, because it got hacked, they changed content, and then they went to, I think, pricing page or something, and they find it was hacked or something like that. And they sent us an email, and then we said, okay, you have a free subscription now. And then we fixed it, and we added it as a use case that, hey, do you want to? The other thing is also that sometimes the content group works differently than let's say the marketing group or management. And they want to see what changes have they done to the recent content. And you say that I know I asked for all these changes. I'm outsourcing it to some other company. Now I want to see whether all these changes have been implemented. You can use InfoMinder, and then you'll get a notification whenever it is done, instead of asking them, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? I use it to track blog posts, new posts of blogs and things like that. Lots of interesting uses. Okay, so let's move on to. I'll close this InfoMinder thingy. So the next one is, so we built another product which is not actually currently active, but we have code sitting there somewhere. It's called Topic Minder, which is basically, essentially you say that we are interested in some topic. We go and find all the RSS feeds for that topic, and then we throw them into a search engine. At that time, it was, there's one called Solar, SOLR, with the A missing. It was based on something called Lucene, which is an open source engine. Today, if you have to do it, we'll use something called Elastic Cloud or Elasticsearch or something like that. Basically, what it will do is it will read the RSS feeds from all these sources. It will combine them. You can define a search. You can define what your topic is. My topic is this search. And then once you define the topic as a search, it will run this query, and it will take all the links that are there, and then it will send you an email. We priced it a little too high, like $500 a year. There are not that many buyers, but a couple of companies licensed the server version of it. and then they were running it for some time. And we kind of, now I think there are so many new technologies that can help make their product better. So we kind of, put it in the back burner and we'll come back to it, at some point in time. The next product is, it's called Tweet Assistant. So, all you do is, let me start with a new Tweet Assistant. Essentially, you'll say tweetinfoassistance.com. Give me some, some term to search.
Let's search for guerrilla marketing.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put it in quotes, just so that we don't get a lot of information about gorillas.
It is, okay. Yeah, we need to work on the spelling.
Oh, I need to work on the spelling?
Yeah.
What is it?
Guerilla.
There itself, the marketing failed. Yeah, okay. Okay, 192. So there will, we're using a free version of Twitter API. And what the free version allows us to do is to get tweets from the last 30 days or maximum 1,000, at any point in time. And we have a facility by which you can say, make it a continuous tweet, continuous check, and then it'll check every day and then keep on adding more and more tweets and then build a thing. Even with the free product, something like that can be done. Of course, for that, we'll charge. Okay, so once I clicked on the 192 tweets gathered, okay, so this requires a little bit of explanation. So let me do that. Okay, so you see guerrilla marketing obviously is the hashtag, but look at the other hashtags, marketing. So even though this looks ugly, it's fairly simple. The red ones are all people who are tweeting about guerrilla marketing. The blue ones are all hashtags related to guerrilla marketing. Okay, so Apollo 20, Spring Clean, Tudsy marketing, the Epic department, Elon Musk. I don't know why he is a guerrilla marketer. Limited budget. So you can see all these tag cloud. The bigger the font, that means more tweets are there. Okay, the smaller the font, less number of tweets are there. And then, for example, social media, part of guerrilla marketing. When I go there and click on any one of these things, it will show me all the tweets of that. Such a blindness explains guerrilla marketing tactics, blogging, marketing, SEO, social media, and all that stuff. So I can click now on this, and it will take me to a window where the original tweet appeared, and then you can party on. From this, you can do whatever you want to do, kind of thing. So let me go back here. I can say show all, so I can get back to the original one. So you see all these things like my Clubhouse today. This Clubhouse is like taking over the world. It's just so much. By the way, Guy Kawasaki says Clubhouse is by marketeers for marketeers. So that answers your question you asked about 3 episodes ago. So when you look at these tweets, I can go and there is a retweet count. I can change the retweet count, the highest number of retweets, which will be what I'm interested in. And sometimes it may be the latest one, in which case you can do sort on date time. So, so crappy jeans are very instant use of blackface is guerrilla marketing strategy. So there are, you ever witnessed ads fitting right into the situation and briefing up about product brand characteristics with utmost effect? So this is obviously, kind of a funny tweet, and Malaysian celebrity culture has done as much harm to the international image as of politics or something like that. So anyway, so when you click on it, you'll go to the Twitter. So we don't replace the Twitter client. But the cool thing, you know what? You can just do export. Okay, so we got guerrilla marketing and it went to marketing. I happen to be in the marketing folder. I'll save it. Now I can take these tweets and then I can happily analyze them. So for example, I can go and let me do show in folder. I'll go and open with, even though it is the slowest, we'll open with Excel because it will format it nicely and tell you. And come on, buddy. Yeah. So if I daytime, so all this stuff that you saw earlier is all here. Now it's available to you in a spreadsheet format. You can take it to Google Sheets, and then you can now do whatever you want. You can do link extraction, you can do this, you can do that, all kinds of things in there. So you can sort it by various things and what time it was in 96, and then you can keep. So that's one thing nice, is that you can export it. So we don't limit you. I mean, we just give you some minimal interface, a kind of a geeky interface, and we ourselves plan to use it as part of a company tracking, a tool for tracking companies and products and things like that. So it's a tweet collector, and doesn't do much analysis except separates out the hashtags and the at mentions. So you can find some interesting things. Okay. So the next one I'm going to show you is going to kind of excite you, or should excite you. I went and checked up on Mr. Pravin Shekar a little bit.
Oh, no.
Okay. So we were talking about influencers some time ago.
Right.
So we said, hey, influencers, what are influencers? People are, people put in their list. I'll show this and then I'll depress you by showing my list for doing it. But, we rank for different things, right? You are actually, these are lists, 155 lists you are on. Do you know that on Twitter?
I didn't know that.
And you don't even tweet that much, Pravin. I've never seen you like, you write more books than doing tweets, but anyway.
Yes.
So, so when you see this, you are in all these lists. Market research, obviously, that's your forte. Like marketing tips, entrepreneur startups, very consistent market research leaders and market research. But one I'll show you, it will really make you sing. Insightful entrepreneurs. So must be one of your friends, I'm quite sure. But there is another one, thought leaders of 2016. After that, I think nobody mentioned US thought leader. Cool kids of MRX. How did you get that into that list, Pravin? So this is
interesting.
Yeah. So this is Runners Club, okay, which is an outlier in this list, but that's okay.
Yes.
Do you still run?
No, I don't run anymore.
You bike mostly. Okay.
I bike.
Like entrepreneurs, growth hackers to watch. MR Tribe, that must be your field. Some startup tweets, startups. You are there in Dash Entrepreneur, Supercharge Your Startup, little startup founders from India, Indian startup founders. So you are in all these lists.
Right.
Okay. We are in some overlap lists. Both of us are on some of them. Talking about sales, awesome MRX tweeters. Oh, you did. So you must have tweeted twice and nobody else would have tweeted anything.
Yes. Most likely.
So, but Amsterdam appears here, ASMR 2017. So I can learn a lot about you by looking at the list in which you participate.
Wow.
This you cannot fake, right? Because this is somebody else put you on that list.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody else put you on that list. So that is one of those nice things in there. So it's not only for gathering tweets. I did a search, right? The other thing that I can do is I'll export it and send it to you.
Right.
So that, export to CSV. Say user list, Pravin Shekar user list. Okay, say. So I'm going to close this app. Yeah. Then what I can do is I can do something else. I can go to Pravin Shekar himself and say, I think submit. So it is collecting tweets, collecting hashtags. It takes 400. We used to do 1,000 before. Right. But now we limited to 400 because we are doing this market map. So this is all your tweets.
Right.
Okay. Tai Chennai, Ascent tweets, marketing, outlier marketing, your favorite term. Let's say outlier marketing. Hey, not bad, yeah. Last time I saw there were only two.
No, I've become a bit more consistent.
Huh? Yeah, not bad. So, but They've not spread very far. You can see that, right? So let's see the favorites. That normally 6 favorites. So Praveen, I think you should spend a chunk of change, give me a lot of money, and then I can get these retweets and favorites of
Yes.
for doing it. So there is also this outlier, which is sometimes there are a lot of redundancy between these things.
Yes.
Lean marketing, some strange thing called IAEX that somebody followed. So if you, from this, if you can pick, let's say ChargeBee. What is ChargeBee saying about Pravin Shekar? Oh, they just tagged you on this one.
Right.
Or you just tagged ChargeBee on.
I must have done. Yeah.
So you probably retweeted. So we can also look at, when you say show all, we also show you what are the tweets. You don't, I think that is your thing. You're a good man, Praveen. You don't retweet that much.
Yeah.
You don't retweet. You do mostly original tweets.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that, you do a lot of retweets kind of thing. So you can also get your Twitter list from Twitter. If you request, they'll give you everything that you ever started kind of thing. But I can send you the most. So let us say that, now think about this. Suppose I do this and I do it every day.
Right.
And so I take this page and put it in InfoMinder. And I do it every day. It will highlight all the new tweets. Or if any of counts change, like a retweet count and all that sort of, because it's just a web page, as far as InfoMinder is concerned, it's just content and it will just highlight anything that changes. Kind of.
Right.
And so you can kind of, take this and use it. So similarly, we can go through ChargeBee and all that,
right.
But we don't have time. So the other one that I want to show you is this. You can stop me anytime for questions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just to, I just did it before just to make sure that we had a list, So I did Martech. Did we do Martech before? No.
No, we haven't. Yeah.
So I did a Martech, and this is the results of Martech. 216 tweets recently. So if you want to know all the dudes who Martech, you can do all this kind of thing. You can get all the hashtags: customer data, virtual event, email marketing, ad tech, marketing technology, digital transformation, all these things. So now this is your vocabulary of Martech. Okay. Similarly, if I go and type competitive intelligence, and I'll get the vocabulary for competitive.
Right.
So technology intelligence, I'll get the vocabulary for technology intelligence, and I'll know who are all the guys who are tweeting, and then I'll go follow them, put them into a list, track them regularly to see who's like aligned, tweets aligned with what they are saying, and then maybe start. This is how I'll influencer hunt.
Wow, InfoMinder was pretty much on the site level, but all these couple of tools that you're showing are revealing quite a lot about a person just from their Twitter profile and the list they are a part of. A lot of learning, especially when I'm looking at an influencer or competitive intelligence or technology intelligence here.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So and it has got a lot of, Twitter is rich in terms of search capabilities. Right. It will give you a lot of things by country wise. I can say, I want to only find out people in India, and only in US, or only in, for example, Netherlands, or whatever that, so it's very, very powerful. You can also buy what is called a Firehose version, where they'll charge you some amount of money and you can get unlimited tweets kind of thing. And true market researchers will probably use that, and because they'll pay for it. It's the cheapos like us will just play around with tools just to see whether anybody will pay us for this. If somebody pays, we'll have a premium model where we will actually subscribe to this thing. And or if you're, that's one of those things that we'll try to do. So in Martech, you see this AI, it is sitting there in the top here.
Right.
And then there is a CMO, obviously, demand gen, these are all terms. So, this is real because we can relate to most of this vocabulary.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what. Let me, I think I went to that particular tweet, the future of growth, and then I said digital marketing, and then I went to marketing. Martech, when I did a research, I just went and picked on this article, which is a Forbes article, and that's how I got this Forbes article.
Right.
The future of growth, the top 20 digital marketing trends in 2021. So for content discovery, something that we didn't really talk about, lots of times people say, hey, blog posts, what blog post will I write and all that sort of stuff. And then what you do is you use Twitter for content discovery. Then you initially started curated posts where you'll take the future of growth, the top 20 digital marketing trends. So now I can go and say digital marketing trends in Tweet Assistant, get a whole bunch of tweets, very focused articles. Then I can take rank the top and the ones that have the maximum retweets, for example, and they take the top 5 or 10. I give it to my content writing department and say, hey, put this 5 and then come up with content. So
Brilliant, Dorai. That was a 40-minute masterclass for me. I've got a whole bunch of notes and to check out some bots and see how I can look at building some for my company as well. Okay. For vocabulary, for content driving, and of course, finding out more about the people I associate with.
Correct. So I'll just show you one other thing. It's not a demo, but basically what we have not covered is that we have started building these research tools. These are a bunch of utilities.
Right.
So you can tell, extract entities, extract blogs. I mean, extract entities right now is not working because we are moving the servers. Extract blogs, extract links, extract keywords, get search suggestions. So we'll be adding more and more to this pile. These are all little tools that you can use for. These are the marketer's toolkit, research toolkit, for example.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Lovely. Right. Dorai, I'm looking forward to subscribing and using all these tools, starting from InfoMinder, research tools, and the tweet analyzer. Yeah. But thank you very much, Dorai, for walking us through. Now it's up to me and all the listeners and viewers to go ahead and play around, because what is up there is something that we need to know, and that leads into our strategy. So thank you very much for that, Dorai.
Yeah, thanks, Pravin, for the opportunity to give this. And I can never leave without doing some justice to our friend Google. So we do have a search assistant. So you can simply say LinkedIn marketing. I wonder how I spent too much of time on Twitter, and I have to pick an email address. Okay. So lots of times you use search is the single most powerful, and then especially Google search, because I've tried other searches. They don't hold a candle to Google, in spite of all the stuff that people talk about. You'll get the top 100 results, and Google gives it this away free. So these are all 9 powerful LinkedIn marketing tips by, our man, Neil Patel. Of course, once you go there, he'll ask you to subscribe to something and all. How to use LinkedIn for marketing, 15 LinkedIn marketing tips, and the beginner's guide to LinkedIn marketing, all this stuff, the top 100. This, of course, you can export, download all of them. And so I think that 2 minutes I took was worth it, because this is another one of the tools.
It is.
I use these two most, the Tweet Assistant and the Search Assistant.
Lovely.
And use others kind of sporadically.
Super. Right. Lovely, Dorai. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Yeah, and I'm just waiting to type away. And after this conversation, pick your brain some more in terms of how effectively to use it. But thank you once again.
Great. Thanks. Yeah.